the Sorbonne University in Paris for 30 years, wrote, "In the history of the primates, we must be careful not to take at face value the reconstructions of our ancestors based on a few scanty vestiges that were put forward in all seriousness by highly imaginative paleontologists. This explains why genealogical trees of man are quickly devised and just as quickly discarded. The most recent works on the subject appear to be fairly mediocre, even though they concern new and interesting discoveries. The researchers engaged in these studies have neither the knowledge or the good sense to interpret the discoveries correctly." The fossil evidence has shown that there have been several stages in the development of mankind, but a link joining any of these hominid forms to another animal lineage has never been found. The famous Piltdown man hoax demonstrates the single-minded approach of paleontologists in seeking this speculative missing link.
If it was a bit bigger. Do you like her? Big eyebrows. Do you like her?
Look at Lucy and look at the others.
The oldest near-complete fossil of a hominid form is Lucy, who's thought to be nearly 3.5 million years old. The bone structure shows that Lucy walked upright on two legs like us, and not like an ape. Lucy and her kind, the Australopithecines, died out sometime during the first ice age. He created you in stages. Surat Nur, verse 14. Fossils found in Africa, Asia and Europe show that there was another wave of hominids, closer to our own size than Lucy, and with a brain capacity similar to modern man. This wave, Homo erectus, seems to have disappeared between 500,000 and 150,000 years ago. We created man according to the best organizational plan. Surat Atin, verse 4. The next wave, Neanderthal man, was even closer to us in structure and probably in appearance. He died out between 100,000 to 40,000 years ago. If God wills, he destroys you, and in your place appoints who he wills as successors, just as he brought you forth from the descendants of other peoples. Surat An'am, verse 133. Neanderthal man was overlapped and succeeded by the fourth wave, Cro-Magnon man, who is the direct ancestor of modern man. No clear link has been found between any of these different stages. In truth, we created them and strengthened all of them, and when we willed, we replaced them completely by people who were of the same kind. Surat Al-Insan, verse 28. Once again, the overview of the Quran and the facts discovered by research seem to match. But here the similarity stops. The Quran does not agree with the theories and speculations of the paleontologists. The latest support for the theory of evolution of species comes through molecular biology, in particular from the study of chromosomes and the genetic code. In multicelled organisms, the complete genetic code is contained within the nucleus of each and every cell in the body. An individual inherits exact copies of genes from the parents, so passing on information from one generation to another. The only way a gene can change is through mutation during the duplication process. Geneticists have shown how this process of mutation can account for major physical changes within a short time span. But this is far from proving that one species can evolve into another, and it's even further from providing a complete explanation for the myriad life forms on this planet. multi-celled organisms to change their nature and function, many different features have to evolve together. This needs fantastically complex genetic coordination. To attribute such coordination to random or chance mutation is a severe stretch of the imagination. Francis Crick, who's dominated the field of genetic research from the very beginning, acknowledges the severe limitations of the molecular approach. In one way, you could say all the genetic and molecular biological work of the last 60 years could be considered as a long interlude. Now that program has been completed, we have come full circle, back to the problems left behind unsolved. How does a wounded organism regenerate to exactly the same structure it had before? How does the egg form the organism? Almost nothing is known of the way genes communicate, cooperate, and organize themselves to develop a complex organism like man. An attempt to explain life solely in terms of random molecular mechanisms is too simplistic. It fails to deal with the fundamental questions behind the process of creation. We created you, and thereupon we fashioned you. Thereupon we told the angels, bow down to Adam. Surat Al-Araf, verse 11. The spiritual concept behind the creation of man from clay or earth is well known. Science has shown how there is also a physical reality in this statement. The chemical components which form the human body are present to a greater or lesser quantity in the ground. God is the one who created you, then fashioned you harmoniously and in due proportion. Into whatever form He willed, He made you out of components. Surat Al-Infitar, verses 7 and 8. The creation of mankind as a species can be seen in microcosm with the creation of each individual human being. The Quranic verses dealing with the fertilization and development of the human embryo are stunning in their clarity and precision. What you're seeing is the actual journey of the male sperm to the egg, photographed inside the body for the first time. God fashioned the two of a pair, the male and female, from a small quantity of sperm when it is poured out. Surat An-Najm, verses 45 and 46. Then we placed man as a small quantity of sperm in a safe lodging, firmly established. Surat Al-Mu'minun, verse 13. Once fertilized, the egg moves to the womb, where it throws out villocytes, using them to cling to the wall of the uterus and to draw nourishment. Read, in the name of your Lord who fashioned man from something which clings. Surat Al-Alaq, verses 1 and 2. We fashioned the thing which clings into a chewed lump of flesh, and we fashioned the chewed lump of flesh into bones, and we clothed the bones with intact flesh. Surat Al-Mu'minun, verse 14. As the embryo grows, it passes through stages where many of its parts are out of proportion. We fashioned you into something which clings, into a lump of flesh in proportion and out of proportion. Surat Al-Hajj, verse 5.